President Uhuru Kenyatta has been recognized as the first Kenyan head of state to co-chair and visit the second United Nations Ocean Conference in Lisbon, Portugal, with his Portugal counterpart Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Kenya and Portugal were declared hosts of the conference after the 2017 inaugural UN Ocean Conference co-hosted by Fiji and Sweden in New York.
Let me say that it gives me great pleasure to join the President of Portugal to welcome you to the second UN Oceans Conference, which Kenya is honored to co-host with Portugal. I want to thank His Excellency President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa and the government of Portugal for the excellent preparations to host us here in Lisbon. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, this conference was scheduled to be held in 2020, but had to be postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to thank all of you for your patience and also for joining us today in Lisbon. The first UN Oceans Conference, which was hosted by Sweden and Fiji in 2017, raised an alarm on the urgent need to scale up action on the SDG 14 to conserve and sustainably use oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. The ocean is the most underappreciated resource on our planet. Most of us do not comprehend just how central the ocean is to human existence. And for this, let me just cite a few examples which underscore why we are in this meeting today. Our oceans cover 70% of the global surface, and 3 billion people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity. The ocean is home to about 80% of all life in the world, and it supplies nearly half of the oxygen we breathe, and 90% of the world's goods are traded across oceans, and this list goes on and on. But human action has put ocean systems under immense stress. We dump more than 8 million tons of plastics into the oceans each year, sickening and contaminating at least 700 species of marine life. We're also threatening the stability of fish populations through illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, and are altering and destroying marine ecosystems through dumping of toxic wastes into the waters. Poor management of the ocean has reduced the ocean's natural ability to restore itself. And I find it quite surprising that we would put such a critical resource at risk. But yet, if we manage the ocean more sustainably, it could produce as much as 6 times more food, generate 40 times more renewable energy than it currently does, and help lift millions of people across the globe out of poverty and increase economic as well as environmental resilience.
The conference was initially scheduled to take place in 2020 but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It is aimed at accelerating the adoption of science-based innovative solutions to challenges facing oceans and the global marine ecosystem.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the ocean, therefore, lies great risk as well as great opportunity. The burden of choice lies with each and every one of us. Over the last decade, we have accumulated sufficient knowledge of all the risks and opportunities and deepened our understanding of actions that we should take. The 2018 Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, which Kenya hosted together with Canada and Japan, highlighted untapped opportunities in enhancing marine technology and innovation, and the strengthening science and research to generate evidence-based policies. The conference also underscored the urgent need to mobilize financing from both public and private sources. The high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy, where I serve as a member, has also developed a path-breaking set of ocean transformations where environmental protection and conservation, sustainable economic production, and equitable prosperity go hand in hand. The high-level panel has commissioned a compendium of evidence-based reports, including reports on addressing plastic pollution, financing the ocean economy, and making the benefits from the ocean economy equitable. Our actions are not commensurate with the threat that faces the oceans. We urgently need to build an ocean-based economy where effective protection, sustainable production, and equitable prosperity go hand in hand. These actions must be taken collectively because the ocean is a global common good. 2/3 of our global waters lie in areas beyond national jurisdiction of economic zones. Action or lack of action in one sea will have a positive or negative effect on other seas. Success in managing our global aquatic resource therefore requires and hinges critically on all of us working together. We need, ladies and gentlemen, to build political momentum towards ocean climate action as we head for the 27th session of the UN Climate Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in November of this year. We can no longer continue to make commitments that we cannot honor. Let me stress the importance of engaging all stakeholders. The youth, for example, must be our torchbearers on ocean action, and they need a front row seat in this discussion. The inspiring ocean-based actions that the youth presented yesterday demonstrate that they indeed are and can be a part of the solution. So as I conclude, I take this opportunity to wish all of us fruitful deliberations, and in the years to come, I would like us to look back on Lisbon as the place where we bent the arch of history and boldly chose to sustainably produce and protect our oceans.
Oceans cover up to 70% of the Earth's surface and are home to over 80% of all the life in the world. They generate 50% of oxygen needed by humans, absorb 25% of all carbon dioxide emissions, and capture 90% of the heat generated from anthropogenic activities.
The ocean connects us all. Sadly, we have taken the ocean for granted, and today we face what I would call an ocean emergency. We must turn the tide. Global heating is pushing ocean temperatures to record levels, creating fiercer and more frequent storms. Sea levels are rising. Low-lying island nations face inundation, as do many major coastal cities in the world. The climate crisis is also making the ocean more acidic, which is disrupting the marine food chain. Ever more coral reefs are bleaching and dying. Coastal ecosystems such as mangroves, seagrasses, and wetlands are being degraded. Pollution from land is creating vast coastal dead zones. nearly 80% of wastewater is discharged into the sea without treatment, and some 8 million tons of plastic waste enter the oceans every year. Without drastic action, this plastic could overweight all the fish in the oceans by 2050. Plastic waste is not found in the most remote areas and is now found in the most remote areas and deepest ocean trenches. It kills marine life, and it is doing major harm to communities that depend on fishing and tourism. One mass of plastic in the Pacific is bigger than France. Unsustainable fishing practices are also rampant. Overfishing is crippling fish stocks. So, Excellencies, we cannot have a healthy planet without a healthy ocean. Our failure to care for the ocean will have ripple effects across the entire 2030 agenda. The ocean produces more than half of the oxygen we breathe. It is the main source of sustenance for more than 1 billion people. And industries relating to the ocean employ some 40 million people, and a healthy and productive ocean is vital to our shared future.
As such, Professor Judy Wakungu said oceans are a key aspect of human life, emphasizing the importance of the conference not only to Kenya but to the world, especially now that humanity is increasingly facing the negative impacts of the climate change. Ambassador Wakungu said Kenya has prioritized blue economy as a key driver of her socio-economic transformation agenda, adding that the conference builds on the successes of the inaugural UN Sustainable Blue Economy Conference held in Nairobi in 2018.